If you're waiting to upgrade your Apple TV in 2025, you might want to hit pause because the next generation Apple TV now looks set for 2026, and that delay could completely change what you buy. For months, we've been following every credible Apple TV 4K leak, supply chain hint, and analyst prediction. Early reports pointed to a 2025 launch, but the silence from certification databases and manufacturing sources is telling a different story. All signs now suggest a 2026 release window for the next Apple TV. And that's a big shift. By the time the new Apple TV arrives, the current Apple TV 4K will be over 3 years old. But here's the twist. This longer wait likely means a much bigger upgrade, not a small spec bump. Apple seems to be preparing a major leap that could reshape how we think about streaming devices and even blur the line between a streaming box and a gaming console. So let's break down what the 2026 Apple TV is expected to bring. The design, the performance, the connectivity, the smart home features, and why the price might be the most surprising part of all. Familiar design. Refined purpose if you were hoping for a radical new Apple TV design, a glass-top box, a super thin stick, or something that looks like a HomePod. Temper your expectations. Multiple reports suggest Apple is sticking with the current Apple TV 4K design language. No dramatic redesign. No ultra-compact stick-style Apple TV. No flashy hardware changes on the outside. Expect the same compact, matte black plastic box we have today. And honestly, that might be the right call. The current Apple TV looks clean and minimal manages heat. Effectively disappears into most entertainment centers. Apple's design philosophy here is simple. For a set-top streaming box, the best design is the one you barely notice. The real story isn't what's on the outside. It's what's coming on the inside. Massive performance leap. From streaming box to console-like power, the current Apple TV 4K is powered by the A17 Bionic, the same chip found in the iPhone 13 lineup. It's still solid for streaming and casual gaming, but it's clearly aging compared to Apple's latest silicon. Apple doesn't build custom chips just for Apple TV. Instead, it reuses iPhone-class processors. That means when the next Apple TV arrives, a huge performance jump is almost guaranteed. Right now, the strongest rumors point to the A17 Pro chip. This is the same 3nm processor used in the iPhone 15 Pro series. And it's a big deal for one main reason. Gaming. The A17 Pro features a powerful 6-core GPU-accelerated ray tracing console-style visual effects like realistic lighting, reflections, and shadows. We've already seen full A games like Resident Evil 4 and Death Stranding running natively on iPhones with the A17 Pro. If Apple brings this chip, or anything in that class, to the 2026 Apple TV, the device instantly becomes more than just a streaming box. It becomes a budget-friendly gaming console you plug into your TV. Imagine playing true console-quality games through Apple Arcade or the App Store on your Apple TV. With support for modern controllers and top-tier visuals, not just simple mobile-style titles. And that might not even be the ceiling. Depending on timing, Apple could use an A18 chip from the iPhone 16 series, or even an A19 class chip from a future iPhone. Even if Apple only goes with the A17 Pro, it still represents a massive generational leap over the current A15 base. Apple TV 4K. Next-gen connectivity. Faster, more stable streaming, of course. Raw performance doesn't matter if your network can't keep up. That's where the next-generation Apple TV's wireless upgrades come in. The 2026 Apple TV is expected to feature a new custom wireless chip support for Wi-Fi 6E and possibly Wi-Fi 7. At a minimum, Wi-Fi 6E and the 6 GHz band look almost guaranteed. If you live in a crowded apartment, dense building, or busy neighborhood, you've probably felt how congested 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi can be. Wi-Fi 6E opens up a new high-frequency lane with faster top speeds, lower latency, great for gaming and cloud services, more stable 4K, and potentially 8K streaming in busy environments. Apple is also expected to keep offering two main models: a Wi-Fi-only version, A version with both EAF, and a physical Ethernet port for those who want the most rock-solid wired connection possible. On the Bluetooth side, the next Apple TV is likely to move to Bluetooth 5.3, which should mean more reliable connections to game controllers, better performance with AirPods and other wireless headphones, improved responsiveness for wireless keyboards and accessories. In other words, faster, smoother streaming and better accessory support across the board. Smart Home Hub. Apple TV as the center of your connected home for smart home users. Apple TV has quietly become one of the most important devices in Apple's ecosystem, and that role is only expected to grow in 2026. The next generation Apple TV should continue to serve as a full HomeKit hub, thread border, router, core, Matter controller. That means it will be able to connect and control smart lights, locks, thermostats, plugs, and sensors, work with devices from multiple brands through the Matter standard, provide a stable, always-on brains for your Apple-based smart home. The timing is especially interesting because Apple is also rumored to be launching more smart home hardware around 2026, including a dedicated smart display. Delaying the Apple TV to 2026 may not be a coincidence. It could be part of a larger strategy. Launch a more powerful Apple TV 4K alongside new HomeKit and Matter-compatible products in a coordinated smart home push. In that scenario, Apple TV becomes not just a streaming box, but the central hub of your entire living room and connected home. The price shock. A cheaper Apple TV? Now to the one thing that has always held Apple TV back compared to Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Google TV. The price. Apple has always positioned Apple TV as a premium streaming box. Right now, the base Apple TV 4K starts at $129, significantly higher than many competing devices. But that may finally be changing. In 2024, well-known Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo reported that Apple needs to make the next Apple TV more affordable. He pointed to a sub-$100 price point as the sweet spot if Apple wants to truly compete in the mainstream streaming market. Here's what that could mean: a new, more powerful Apple TV launching at $99 or possibly even lower, or Apple introducing a cheaper budget Apple TV model alongside a higher-end version, or Apple keeping the current Apple TV as the entry-level option and pricing the new model aggressively above a sub-$100 Apple TV with an A17 Pro class chip, next-gen Wi-Fi, and deep integration with Apple Arcade and the App Store, could instantly become one of the best value streaming and gaming boxes on the market. For the first time, Apple TV wouldn't just be the premium, expensive choice, it could be the obvious choice. So, should you wait for the 2026 Apple TV? Putting it all together, here's what the next generation Apple TV is shaping up to be. Launch window, likely around spring 2026. Design, very similar external look to the current Apple TV 4K. Performance, huge jump with an A17 Pro or newer chip, bringing near console-level gaming capability, connectivity, Wi-Fi 6 or better, Bluetooth 5.3, optional Ethernet, smoother 4K streaming, smart home, full HomeKit, Thread, and Matter support as a true smart home hub price, potentially under $100, making it far more competitive than any previous Apple TV. Rumors of hybrid devices, like an Apple TV combined with a HomePod or a built-in camera for video calls, still exist, but those appear to be separate projects for later. For the core Apple TV, Apple's focus looks clear: more power, better connectivity, deeper ecosystem integration, and a more aggressive price.